All right, welcome back to GolfWRX's Winning What's in the Bag. This week, U.S. Open week, another major down this year, and we see Bryson Dechambeau winning his second U.S. Open. Congratulations to him. That bunker shot on 18 on Sunday was absolutely insane. But a big win with him. He is probably one of the most non-conventional equipment users on tour. So we're going to go through his bag, give you all the details that we have, but there's some that we just don't because it's a totally unconventional build, and he plays some stuff that's just different. And we start with driver, and it is a Krank Formula Fire Pro. Now, Krank, if you're not familiar with it, don't be surprised. They're not a mainstream company in a sense. They actually started out making long drive equipment for long drive golfers. And when Bryson was kind of on his quest of increasing clubhead speed, he kind of moved over to this Krank, and they actually make standard drivers as well that are USGA conforming and built for kind of standard length builds, but still high-speed players who need control of spin, ball speed, and their mishits. So they actually is the kind of most standard model. They actually make two other models that have thinner faces for people with slower clubhead speeds to kind of maximize distance. But his is a 6-degree head, and if you look at the hosel, it looks very familiar. It looks very similar to a Callaway adjustable hosel, but it is set in a -1 degree loft setting and a neutral lie setting. So 6 degrees, it's probably playing at 5 degrees of loft and the neutral lie setting. Now, it's made from forged beta titanium, and they say it's harder than traditional titanium to increase energy transfer and maximize ball speed. And it has twin 1.5 gram weights kind of back and on the sole, and it is shafted up with an LA Golf Bryson Series shaft. Now, the Bryson Series shaft comes in a couple different weights. I think he's playing the 65 TX, but I'm not 100% sure on that. But internally, up in the butt section, it does have a 16-sided kind of pattern in there to increase stability in the handle section. Now, we moved to his fairway woods, and he's actually got kind of 2 3-woods in the bag, which is interesting. I think he calls one a 5-wood, but this is his 3-wood, and it is a Krank Formula Fire fairway, but it is kind of a prototype. It's got a much deeper face to it. It's got an adjustable hosel, and currently this doesn't exist anywhere on their website. It's a 13-degree head, so a very strong 3-wood, and it looks like the driver, it's got a very similar to Callaway adjustable hosel on it, and it's set to -1 loft, neutral lie angle. So it's going to play 12 degrees at the neutral lie position. It's about a much deeper face, no scoring lines. It kind of looks almost like a mini driver compared to the actual fairway wood. This one has twin 10-gram sole weights back on the sole plate, and it is shafted up with an LA Golf Bryson Series shaft as well. Now, the Bryson shaft does come in a 75-gram version, so we're going to assume it's probably the 75 TX, and this is a very low launch, low spin shaft, very stiff, kind of built for his swing. His other fairway wood, which I think he kind of refers to as a 5-wood, but for most of us it would still be a strong 3-wood, is a Krank Formula Fire 3+. So this is a 13-degree lofted fairway. It's got a bonded hosel on it, made from, sounds like stainless steel. It's got a stainless steel cup face on it, and again, 13 degrees is a much stronger one, but this is, I guess, his 5-wood. It's got a much shallower face, scoring lines on it, probably something that's a little easier to hit off the deck. This is also shafted with an LA Golf Bryson Series shaft. I don't know if there's anything heavier than 75 grams that they make. I reached out to LA Golf, but I haven't heard back yet. So it's probably either a 75 or maybe even an 85-gram version that is built just for him. But at retail, if you go on LA Golf's website, they only make a 75 TX. So who knows? He could have a slightly heavier one in that 5-wood / 3-wood. After his 3-wood, he moves on to a very special set of irons. This is Avoda Golf, and it's kind of a Bryson Dechambeau prototype. It was built with him, and it's 5-through pitching wedge. It's custom built, and it's 3D printed out of metal, so 3D printed the whole set. And the unique thing to them is not only are they single-length irons, so every iron is built on the same length, it's also they have bulge and roll to them. So bulge and roll is very common. It's been around a long time in woods, and bulge and roll is basically kind of a roundness to the toe and heel section as well as the vertical section of the driver. And what this does is it helps with mishits. So if you miss it off the toe, that different radius there will actually help the ball kind of curve back into the fairway, and it'll reduce some of the mishits that you have. He's doing it in the irons because at his club head speed, he feels that bulge and rolls helps with his misses, where traditional golfers don't really see a need for it because they're not moving the club head that fast. So they have it. It's meant to basically keep the ball straighter for his misses, and this is, of course, shafted up with an LA Golf Bryson Series iron shaft. This is probably coming in at the 125 gram TX Flex. That's the shaft that kind of, when you go online and you look there, that's the one that's probably spec'd out for him. It's 1.1 degrees of torque, which is extremely low, very stiff shaft, but he's playing graphite and he's one of the fastest swingers on tour. Now we move into the wedges, and the wedges are actually Ping Glide 4.0 wedges. So yes, he's got the 4.0s, and the first one he has is a 46 degree S-grind wedge that is actually bent to 45 degrees. You can see the 45 stamped on the toe of the club there. It's built to 37.5 inches in terms of the finished with grip on it length. It comes in at a 66 degree lie angle, which is pretty upright because he does play these things a little bit longer than standard. And it has 5 degrees of bounce, and it's a very kind of light swing weight, which is C2+, so just a little bit over C2 for his swing weight, which is pretty light for a wedge. He then moves into a gap wedge, and this is again a Ping Glide 4.0. It's a raw finished head. It's a 50 S grind, and it is actually bent to 49 degrees, so 1 degree stronger there. It's again same as the other, 37.5 degree in terms of the finished length with the grip on it, and it's a 66 degree lie angle. Now they're the same lie angle because he plays all his clubs basically at a very similar lie angle. He bends them all, they're the same length, same lie angle, they all kind of match, and that way he can kind of use one swing for everything. The 50 degree has a 5 degrees of bounce and is the same C2+ swing weight. Then we move to sand wedge, and he has a Ping Glide 4.0 56 W grind, and this is actually bent to 54 degrees. Again, length is 57.5 inches and 66 degree lie. They're all going to be that. The sole is kind of custom ground on this one, as you can see from the photos. They've ground some of that down to play the way he wants it to, and the swing weight is going to come in at C2+. And then his lob wedge is going to be another Ping Glide 4.0, shockingly, but this is a 60W grind as well, so this is a little wider sole, a little more sole to it, great for playing shots square. It's got a good amount of bounce to it. It's a 60 degree, and it's playing at 60 degrees. Again, cut to 37.5 degrees, 66.5 degree lie angle, and it comes in at C2+ for the swing weight. It's a very light swing weight as well with those. These are all shafted up with LA Golf Bryson Series wedge shafts. Again, these are probably the 125 gram TX flexes. And again, same as the iron shafts, 1.1 degrees of torque. I think I remember when they first kind of started prototyping these at LA Golf, they basically nicknamed them rebar because they just didn't move at all. And that was kind of what Bryson liked, extremely stiff, stout, and shafts, so they kind of work to control launch, spin, and direction as he needs it. Now, putter we get into, and he actually has an older SICK Pro C-Series Armlock. So SICK is actually kind of gone. LA Golf bought them out. But he still has one of their putters there, and it's an Armlock putter, so a little bit longer, plays it into his arms to kind of putt and stabilize the putter. It's got a descending loft technology face, which means that the face actually has different lofts on it as you go down. And that way, if you hit it a little low on the face or a little high on the face, you'll get the same performance, the same forward roll, the same reduced skidding and hopping that you would get if you hit it dead center. So a technology that LA Golf now incorporates into their putters as well. It is shafted up with an LA Golf C2L 180 prototype shaft. So this is a 180 gram shaft that's actually, a 46-inch blank. It's made for longer builds like Armlock putters, broomstick putters, counterbalance putters. But it does have a much bigger diameter to it, especially down at the putter. And as you see there, the hosel, much larger, and this is actually used to, stabilize a heavier head. Usually with these longer Armlock style putters, the head weighs more. They're 380 grams, 390 grams, even more. And this larger diameter shaft uses to stabilize that and resist any twisting that may happen throughout the stroke. Its shaft is gripped with a JumboMax JumboFlat 17 grip, and that is his putter. He is then ball playing the Titleist Pro V1X Left Dash. So this is the Left Dash model, which offers a high launch just like the Pro V1X does, but it offers lower long game spin, and it's got a firmer feel to it. So players like Bryson, who generate a lot of spin on their own, can reduce some of that spin with driver and the top end of the bag. So that is Bryson Dechambeau's winning What's in the Bag from the 2024 U.S. Open. I know there may be some stuff that is slightly missing or off, but his set is completely different than anything else out there. So hopefully you enjoyed that, and we'll see you next week for the next Winning What's in the Bag.